Okay, and when you hear about women dating up, okay, and getting these men, like when you deal with women who date like sports figures, that's who those women. That's what those women know. Those women know all I got to do is be cute and be sweet and be nice and have this dude's babies, and he's gonna take care of me. Okay, and because they know when you are a millionaire athlete, you don't give a flip about a woman making anything. And there is a documentary on BET where it talks about women who go around and kind of chase male celebrities, and they even try to correlate when they're ovulating, so that they can sneak in their bedrooms and stuff like that and get pregnant by them, because they know these women ain't got no job. I mean, they got a job, but they're not working. Like, they ain't trying to get no third degree. They're not trying to get no PhD. They're not trying to bring cash to the table. They trying to bring cute to the table. So they spending their money on being cute. They in the gym working out. They got their waist trainer on. Y'all know them waist trainers. Okay, what is a waist trainer trying to do? It's trying to pull in your waist, because what are men the most attracted to? The hip waist ratio. They want that curve, just like David said. They want that curve, and y'all know it. That's why y'all put that stuff on. Okay, yeah. Lisa's talking about they'll bring a turkey baster. They sure will. They've got to the point now where men are basically taking. They've been told to take the condom, go into the bathroom, cut it, flush it down the toilet, but do not put it in the garbage can, because the women were taking the condom out of the garbage can and then shooting it up in themselves. Okay, so whatever people want to say, they can say it all, whatever, but we're gonna have some fun now. Somebody says, okay, put hot sauce in. Okay, so I am ready. We can talk about this. I got till 2:00, but you guys are always welcome to keep talking. And I think we're good on all announcements. So we got Cardo on. Cardo, you want to say something? Cardo got another group, guys. His group is a lot like ours, which is interesting. I've been out to his group once or twice. I'm trying to kind of understand them, but they're almost like us, except we kind of push more of a Christian narrative. So if you guys see some stuff over there, it might be interesting to you. But remember, they're a little bit more where we're definitely PG-13 over here. They feel more PG-13, but they might jump rated R every once in a while. At least that's what I'm thinking. So unless Cardo wants to say something against that, that's what I am thinking. But I did enjoy myself over with his group, and I am going to probably go check him out at another time as well. So don't be quiet, everybody. Quiet, y'all act like y'all can't talk. I'm gonna pick somebody if y'all don't talk.
Hush, JL.
All right, I didn't raise my hand yet, but
okay, come on.
It's so much, man. I mean, 20 slides.
Yeah, I told you I could have done like 3 different ones on this.
My notes are from the beginning. When we were talking about men being outwardly focused and the women being inwardly focused, and how you said, I'm not going to say the guys haven't dropped the ball on this one. And I wouldn't even blame the guys. I mean, being a Christian woman, I would blame that sin has entered the world, because for me, I'm inwardly and outwardly focused because I'm a single parent. So I have to be able to commune directly with God and interact with the world on a level that I wouldn't necessarily want to. I don't always want to have to deal with the bills and stuff like that, but because I'm a single parent, that's what it is for me, And so, of course, it's not always God's best, but he can bless the situation regardless. And so I know that sometimes you say things and it's more of like a generalization. And I just want to clarify, because I'm sure that there are other women here who have had to do things out of necessity, not necessarily because they wanted to.
No, that's true. I mean, that's 100% true. I mean, it's like what we're talking about here is we're just talking about value. We're not talking about, what you can do. That's why I want to make sure that in the very beginning we understand that everybody out here, like I said, on the group or whatever, can get somebody. I never want anybody to feel like, oh, I got to do this, or if I don't have this, I can't have, because that's not true. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, oh yeah, it's okay. But so then I wanted to say too, so because of that, when we talk about value as coming from a single parent's point of view, there is a man that will look at that and say she's not too strong, you know. Some was like, I get that sometimes, and men is like, oh, you have everything, you don't need me, you know. But it's not, for me, I'm like, that's not a man that God would send for me, because he would see the places where exactly he fit in. You looking at money, you're looking at that, you're looking at, oh, she has her own home and things like that. And it's like, that's an asset to you. That's not something to be, that's not a deterrent, you know?
Well, no, I mean, that's what I say. I mean, we have to remember. That's why I say y'all got to kind of give me a little grace, because what it's like back in the days when we were talking Enneagram, I try not to bring up Enneagram too much, because then people get curious and then they want to find out more about it. But when we were talking about that and when we were going through that, we could easily see how, and a lot of what we're going to be talking about next week is going into that as well. But what one of the things that we can easily see is that no relationship is exactly the same. Okay. There are women who were born from the very beginning, even if their moms taught them and said, hey, I just want you to be dainty and this, that, and the third, they had a business mind and they wanted to take over the world. I truly believe that. I'm not trying to tell women that you can't do that. I'm just saying that when you're dealing with what we're talking about is the dating marketplace value. Which is two totally different things. So when you're dealing with dating marketplace value, a woman who is career driven is important to certain men. But when you're looking at the generalization of men is what we want to talk about here. Because if I talked about value, I can't say what your value is, Davida, or Angel's value, or Michonne's value, or Tashawn's value. I can only look at my own value. Like when I wrote, and that's kind of why I was even trying to say with the whole thing with my age, the fact that, I'm out here and I date, like I say, pretty much, a lot of times early 30s women. Some of them look at me and they're like, wow, he's great because, he has his life together. I know he wants to settle down. I know he wants children. I know he's not playing any games with me. So I can 100%, attach to him. But then you got other ones that are like, but he old, so it's going to change depending upon person to person. But when I look at myself as a market value, okay, and the fact that I am 5'9", and the fact that I am 45, that means I'm not at the top. There is no me getting around that. I'm not at the top of the value. Now I have value. And for the right woman, I'm a perfect 10. Agreed. But when I say the value, the marketplace value of being who I am and where I am and what I am trying to date and what I'm trying to do, I'm not at the top.
I agree with that.
If I was 6'2" and I was 38 and I was making $150,000 a year, I'd be in the top 3%. But
right, but I mean, most of us are not at the top. Most people aren't at that top, you see?
Yeah, but that's part of the point, though.
Yeah.
The point is, the point of this particular presentation is to talk about what we need to be thinking about, ways in which we can better ourselves in the marketplace, and also to understand the way this marketplace is going. It's like if you're going to play, to me, this game of dating, you need to kind of understand the rules, both written and unwritten. And what a lot of us are doing, especially a lot of Christians are doing, is they're coming into this space and they just don't want to talk about the rules. They see the rules being played out, but they don't want to talk about it. They want to keep acting like Jesus is going to come down and he's going to put a holy beam of light over the one. And then when you look at him and he looks at you, it's going to be perfect.
Nope.
Okay. And we know that it doesn't work that way. So we need to be realistic about, what we're trying to do in this space. So that's the only thing I'm trying to do today is really go in, bring some of those things out. Not to say that, no, that's why I kept saying over and over again, everybody has value different depending upon what people want, things like that. But these are the key elements.
Well, thank you. You did an awesome job today, if I can say so myself. I loved it.
I appreciate it. Come on, Lisa.
Hey guys, I think this is my first time speaking live with the group. So I just wanted to say that this is very awesome. I love the content. I wanted to touch upon like what you mentioned earlier about like people from the Caribbean or first generation, because I'm that. I'm first generation American. And it's true. In my culture, my parents are from Haiti. It's a big part of the woman's role to be submissive, to be more femme, to be more docile. So what I see playing in my home and my family, it's very different than what I'm seeing like here, like in America, like mainstream America. But one of the interesting things, the way my mom raised me, my sister, she did really promote education. And I think we're one of the few people in our larger family where my mom actually promoted that. And it wasn't as a form of rebellion. She just, my mom was married young. She was married at the age of 18. So all she knew was being a mom, being a wife, and caring for a home. And I think her take on that is that she wanted more for my sister and I. So she really emphasized getting good grades, going to school, but not in a form to like be rebellious against the husband or the man, but she just wants us to feel comfortable. Like if we were never, ever getting married, that we don't feel like we had to settle for anyone just because they had money or assets and things like that. Because in situations in our family where a woman didn't have her own, she could not leave the relationship because she could not survive on her own. And my mom always wanted to stress that on me and my sister, that if we had to leave, then at least feel comfortable knowing that you have your own. So yes, it's like being caught in a rock in a hard place, because there's a lot of educated women out there. It's not like we're toting our degrees, our money, and our salary. It's just that at the end of the day, if I am in a very toxic relationship and I need to get out, I want to feel comfortable knowing that I can still pay my mortgage, I can still pay my car note, I can still pay insurance. So that's what I wanted to talk about.
No, I thank you. I mean, for that. And I agree with you. I think women should have education and careers and stuff like that. Again, I'm not trying to say anything against it. But what I see is, again, a lot of this stuff is going to come out next week, but I'll show you something really quick again, I was going to show out next week. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. Okay, I think I'm trying to find a really, really good one. Okay, so look at this. If you guys can see it. Oh, it's backwards. So I'll read it to you. This was, I found this on Bumble. This lady says, if you would never date a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, then don't date me. I cannot do crybabies. And so basically what she's saying is, if you're not at this level, I don't want to deal with you. I ain't gonna blah, 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 because I'm up here and I can't deal with no crybaby, type of dude. And part of it is lashing out at the lack of masculinity / success that a lot of the guys that she's been talking to have. But then another part of that is just showing how mean she is, how mean spirited she is, and how much anger and frustration and all these types of things that she has upon her. And so and she makes sure that she leads with this degree. I have a master's degree. I have a PhD. I can't tell you how many women, when I've been on dating apps, literally in their profile, well, I got 3 degrees. I got a PhD. I got this, I got that. Every time I talk to a guy, especially offline, and I say, do you care about a woman having anything more than a bachelor's degree or being able to take care of herself financially? They're like, no. I don't give a flip about her master's degree. I don't care about her PhD. They're not knocking it, okay? Because they can be proud of you and proud of their wife. Don't get me wrong. But it is not helping you as far as jumping over the main things. If the main things are not taken care of, and Angel kind of said it, because she said that, these guys out here, they want you to, have money, but they want you to be beautiful. They want you to be this, they want you to be that. So they're adding to what they already want. See, ain't no man gonna tell you that he want an ugly chick that's a PhD, that has a PhD. All of them want somebody that's pretty first. If you can't get past the beauty, the kindness, it don't matter how much money you make. It don't matter anything else in your life. And I know that sounds horrible, but you look at the flip side, ladies. Look at the flip side when it comes to men. If a man comes to you and he's broke and he's weak, and you go out and let's say, for instance, y'all get mugged, and this dude run off and leave you, and you there with them heels, and you can't follow him, are you gonna break up with him the next day? Because he couldn't protect you?
But I've experienced the same thing coming from a man where they would lead on the very first date about how much money they have, the car they drive, and that don't mean, it's semi-important. I'm not gonna say it's not important, but at the end of the day, it's not what's gonna keep me there either. So maybe the women who are leading with that degree or their salaries because they feel that they're with a man who's leading with how much money they have. I personally don't tell nobody what I do. I don't tell them about, my education. I feel like eventually it's gonna come up, but is that the most important thing about me? No. I think my character, my integrity is more important than that. But there are a lot of men who lead with how much money they have. They really stress their status at their career, like their title. And at the end of the day, that's not going to keep a woman of substance if there's some other underlying issues going on. So,
no, that's true. But what you just said is still kind of proving my point.
Yeah.
See, what you're saying is these guys are leading with that, but you're not going to stay if they're not a good person. A guy is looking at a woman who is beautiful, but if she is not a nice person, he's not going to stay. Yeah. Neither side is going to stay. But the reason why the men are leading with that money is because they know even if a woman hasn't asked those questions, it is still something that she's thinking about. What does this guy do? How much money does he make? Can he provide for me? That's why so many men lead with those things, because they know that is what a lot of women are concerned about, and that's what they care about. Okay, because it's all subconscious. But when a woman leads with money, see, she's leading with the wrong thing. See, everybody leads with something. Like right now, you got your hair stuff and your makeup and all that kind of stuff. So you're looking good, but it's like you're leading with it. Before I even talk to you, I see you. Does that make sense? So whether you thought you were leading with it or not, you're still leading with it. Because I'm seeing your attractiveness. Okay, and that is going to dictate, if I was trying to talk to you, is going to dictate whether or not I'm going to talk to you or not. Because just like a lot of the women in the group, and we've kind of gone over this kind of stuff in the past, they like a broke, lazy dude, they don't really care. If he fall off and he get in his little emotions and all that kind of stuff, they don't care. And it's the same thing with men. When a woman is not taking care of herself, if she's not decently attractive, she can be over there boo-hooing all day about I can't find no man, and men don't care. So you cannot equate apples to apples. You can't say that the man over here wants this, and if I give him what he wants or what I want, then that's going to help me. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. We used to say it like this, like women, like I say, from an educational perspective, like I say, I love an educated woman. I love smart women. But at the same time, if she makes $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year, $1 million a year, None of those things matter. As long as she's doing enough to take care of herself and to, provide for herself, because as we're, meeting, she has to take care of herself, then I'm cool with it. But there's a huge difference when you start dealing with women. If a guy makes $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, or $1 million, who he can pull, the types of women, all those things change just in that little bit of value of his money. And it's, it might not seem fair, but it's not fair on the other side as well. Both sides, it's not fair. It's just kind of, like I said, we're not talking about, like I said, I wish I was 6'2", but God didn't bless me with that. So I gotta move and groove in this 5'9" body. So if I want to talk to a beautiful woman that's 5'7", I got to figure out something to do. And the bottom line is, I know she might not want to talk to me because of that, because in her mind, I can't protect and provide for her. I can't protect her because I'm too short. Come on, Tashawn.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm still not feeling well, so I apologize for being off camera.
No worries.
So I just had 3 points. And one, initially you were talking about the human nature of focusing on beauty or focusing on protection, or whether it's financial or physical. And so I just want to make sure that the point is not lost, that the significance of that is that it's not a character flaw that people focus on these things. It's just human nature. It's just what we naturally do. Now, you can choose to acknowledge it and change it. Like, you know what? I'm self-sufficient. I don't need somebody to take care of me. Or we're not living in the jungle. I don't need somebody to protect me from, lions and tigers and bears. Or I'm 5 feet tall. Why do I need somebody that's a whole foot taller than me? That is something that you can choose to look at differently. But I think that too often, and I'm going to say for the women, I think that too often we look at men as being less than because, they're always focused on what women look like. Well, that's their nature. And men that complain about women caring about these things like how much money they make, well, that's our nature. So it's not a character thing where we're less than because we do something that's natural to us, but we can choose to recognize that that's what we're doing and acknowledge that, this is my natural inclination, but it doesn't have to be the choice that I make. The other thing is about the negativity, going into the factors of there's no good men out there, there's no good women out there. I think that whether you do right now or in your past, we've had encounters with the opposite sex where we've said, this is a great woman or this is a great guy. They're just not right for me. Some of you may still have people like that in your life and they're your friend. Maybe it's one of your siblings. So you can't make a blanket statement that there's no good men or good women just because you haven't found one that's right for you. And to say that is putting negativity out there in your spirit, in the way that you present in the world when you're, going into relationships or dating or meeting people, as well as speaking that death into other people's experiences. Be honest with yourself and with other people about the fact that, I haven't found what's right for me, but I've met lots of great guys. I've met lots of great women. I just haven't found the right one for me. Speak life into the situation, because we're all, in the same boat of trying to find somebody. And so being positive about it is going to do only going to be helpful. And then I think that, some people don't do this. I do this because people fascinate me. I tell you guys this all the time. I do watch different reality shows, some because I really love when people help other people who are going through things. But what I find to be interesting is that often when you watch some of these shows where people are really going through very difficult situations, they are usually not single. So this concern about, well, you know, you got to be at a certain level, you got to haul all of these different things. That to me is evidence that there's somebody for everybody. I'm not going to say it's always a healthy relationship, but I just want to make the point of there's a difference between saying that you just can't have anybody, because I think most of us have turned down or are single because we chose not to be with somebody that was not what we wanted, versus you just don't have any options. So don't let the devil tell you that there's something wrong with you, or that you're less than, or that you always going to be by yourself, or anything like that, just because you are not in a relationship, or you're not, you know, because you're single, because you're choosing what you believe, you know, God has for you, versus just being with whoever you can be with. Don't lose sight of that. And honor the fact that you're not choosing to make someone a placeholder for you, that you're saying, you know what, that's not what I want for me, and I wouldn't do that to anyone else. I'm holding out because I believe that God has better for me, or what's best suited to me. Even though this person is a great person, they deserve who's out there for them, just the same way that you deserve who's out there for you. That's all I had to share.
Awesome. That was good, Sean. I see some questions now. If y'all throw some questions in the chat, even if y'all don't want to ask them out loud, I'll try to get to them. So Samantha Lee, I don't know if she's still on here. I'll get to you, Reginald. 1 second. Let me go ahead and do this with Samantha, and then I'll get to you too. And I'll see a Daisy now too. She says, how do you know if you are the placeholder? This comes up a lot. We actually did a whole session on this a long time ago. The easiest way to know whether or not you're in a placeholder position with somebody, honestly, is just to see what they're willing to do for you. Now, ladies, this can get tricky because I've heard a lot of women come up with, oh, Samantha ain't even sitting there no more. Maybe she's hearing. So hopefully she can hear us, because since this was her question. But generally speaking, what you need to do is you need to put yourself in a position where the person is doing something for you that they don't like to do. Okay, that's generally it. I mean, it really is that simple. So say, for instance, you run into someone who he does not like McDonald's. I don't know. He just hates McDonald's. I'm just coming up with a random thing, guys. So he just hates McDonald's, but you love McDonald's. You love McDonald's French fries. You love their ice cream. And so you're always like, you know, take me to McDonald's. And when you first meet him, he's like, I ain't taking you no McDonald's, you know, whatever. But then over time, he not only goes to McDonald's, but he actually starts to eat things from McDonald's because he's doing something he doesn't want to do. That's the point. He's doing something he does not want to do. Same thing for guys. She's doing something she does not want to do. Okay. I had, again, a situation where, you know, I was dating a lady, and everybody knows, you know, about me. Like if I'm dating a woman and she comes over to my apartment, the fourth time she comes here, okay, you family. Okay, this your house. So I ain't trying to serve you. I ain't trying to get up and grab, you know, glasses or nothing like that. And this girl was over here. She's been kicking it. And she was like, can you give me another glass of wine? And I literally looked at her. I was like, you know what a wine is?
And you wanted to fold the blankets up too.
Yeah, I do. I want my place nice. And she's sitting around. She wants me to basically serve her. That's not something I want to do. I don't want to serve her. So she got about another half a day of that. And then she ain't never come back over here no more. Because she wasn't in a placeholder position. I did not like her like that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if I was just all in love and all this other kind of stuff, and she's like, can you give me some? Girl, I'll get you anything, you know, or whatever. It's about what the guy's willing to do or the woman is willing to do that they really don't want to do. That's why you have to know your person, because everybody's going to be different. What affects one person is totally going to not affect somebody else. So a lot of women get caught up in, well, how much money he's spending on me, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter. There are guys on this call who can afford comfortably a $40 date. And then there are other guys on this call who can comfortably afford a $100 date. And then there's guys out there that can comfortably afford a $500 date. It doesn't matter how much money he spends because his money is in relation to how much money he makes. But a guy who makes $50,000 a year and he spends $500 on you for a date, oh yeah, now you should be paying attention because that dude don't have that money. Come on, Reginald. Oh, it's a lot of people out talking over on this one. I can't hear you right now, though, brother. You got to unmute.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My question was, there's a lot of women out there. I want to piggyback on a few things. I've just been listening. But there's a lot of women that talk about, God's gonna send me the one for me, and I'll know when he comes. And you meet a lot of great guys, like the young lady was just saying, I've met a lot of great guys in my life, but they just wasn't for me. But how do you know that? How do you know? Did they not measure up to what standards are you having to determine that they wasn't the one for you? Or maybe you're just too picky. Maybe you really don't know what you really want. That's my opinion. I've met a lot of women in my life that actually told me, "Oh, you're a great guy. You're an excellent father, and you'll be a good provider and protector, and a good husband, but just not for me." And what are you really looking for? Because according to your checkbox, right, and your must-have, and what you call it, the list. I forgot what they
Yeah, it's a list. That's what most people call it.
Yeah, according to that list, I checked off like 90% of those boxes. And what the heck are you really looking for? I had a friend recently just came back into my life. We've been known each other for 20 years. And she told me straight to my face, she said, I messed up with you. We was just friends. I was interested in the beginning and she wasn't. She said, God, she kept telling me, God's going to send me my husband. I'm like, well, how do you know when your husband's going to come? She said, God's going to let me know. I said, okay. And she got married and she just got divorced. And she told me, she said, he was in front of me all the time and I just couldn't see it. Talking about me. I said, well, it's too late now. I'm done. I'm gone. But my question is, how do you know? How do you know when this person is the one, or you're just not the one for you because of what reason? And if you decide that, you know what, I'm gonna go with this person because they check off all the boxes, the next question is, are you settling?
Can I answer
Are you
that?
settling? Huh?
Davida
Go
says
ahead.
she wants to answer your question.
I need to answer some of that. I need to address some
Okay,
of
go
that.
ahead. I'm listening.
Well, you said, how do you know? I mean, there's several ways you could know if a person is the one for you. Number one, you have to know God and what he says about you. And you have to be exactly, or at least on the way of becoming who he says you are. And number two, you have to know what it is that makes your heart smile, that gives you joy, that you can able to live the life in the fullest. Now, is in regards to you and that young lady, she may have gotten married to someone else and she got divorced and she came back to you and said she missed you. Why is it too late? Because she might have said, she came back to you and said you are her one. Why is she not the one for you? Because she's already been divorced?
No, I was married and I'm divorced and I'm raising my 9-year-old daughter. I have full custody of her,
But
So, but my
why
thing
is it
is
too
this,
late? Is what I would like to
it's
know.
too late because when I was interested, right, she wasn't. She only saw me as a friend and I got friend zoned. And I was okay with that. I was younger. I was okay with that. And we became good friends, like really good friends. Like I don't see her that way anymore. It's no
Oh.
way ever it
But
could ever
but
be like that because I don't see her that way.
but then okay, so you just answered your own question. You're saying why isn't it the one? For you, it's a matter of time. You
No,
have different people have different reasons for why that person at that time is not the one for them. It could be something as trivial as you know, you're in school and this person it wants to settle down. And you're like, I want to finish my degree because that is what God has told you to do. So it could be a matter of time. It could be a matter of interest. It could be all kinds of different things that would make a person not the one. But I don't think anyone can question when somebody says, God will reveal this person to me and I will know, you know, but all of us in our we are not we're not infallible, so we could make a mistake. So take into consideration the friend, she got married and she is divorced because she's human. Okay, but you go out there and you try again. But I think that the takeaway here is that for whatever reason, it just wasn't you being her one. And then when she came back, you decided you didn't make her your one. And I feel like if that's the person that you really love, whether she friend zoned you or not, you could make a good match with that person, but you stand in your own way.
I am
I
set in my own
disagree.
ways.
I disagree, David. I agree with
But the
Reginald.
thing, I think the thing with this is that, honestly, uh, it's not that we can make our match in our own way. I just don't see it that way anymore. It was the timing wasn't right. You know, she's every box, and when I say she said God was going to send her in church praise every day, she prays for an hour every day still. You know, morning and afternoon. You know, and she's in one with God. She didn't have that ear to listen. She saw what she wanted to see, and I wasn't it. You know, she saw that physical aspect or whatever it was she was looking for, or maybe the spiritual aspect. Maybe I wasn't spiritual enough, you know, and I wasn't it. But then as time grew, she started realizing and understanding that that was him, and I missed the boat, you know, and she went for something else.
Yeah, I
So,
honestly do. I mean, I think some of it might have been she was trying to put you in that placeholder spot. Because women
uh,
will marry based off of that. Because we do have to continue on. You know, sorry to break you guys up, but we can only really do like 2 to 5 minutes. You know,
oh,
per
sorry.
question slash comment. No, you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, you know, I need to make sure I'm emphasizing it. But you know, just for you to also just to know, because I'm always trying to make sure. And it's not remember this is just my opinion. You know, you got to look at your own life and go through life and stuff like that. But one of the things that you do have to remember is that when you're dealing with people, and there's something thing. What is this called? It's not a placeholder. It's a provider man, provider male. So I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Reginald, but it's a provider male. I'm gonna mute you
Nah,
right now so I can go on, but I will explain what a provider male is. So for everybody, what a provider male is when a woman finds a guy, she's not really sexually attracted to him. She doesn't feel that oomph from him, but he has enough money to take care of her. And so she gets with him, she marries him, she has children with him, blah, blah, blah. She'll have a life with him, but she has quote unquote settled because she's just found a man that will take care of her. I know a person, this is exactly what she did. Her whole marriage is with a provider male. She's never totally been sexually attracted to him. She almost cheated on him twice. But it's all because that wasn't her thing. But she knew he was a good guy. She knew he was going to be a good father, and she knew he was going to have money. So she got with him based off those things. And while she's never been fulfilled as far as romantically, she has fulfilled her duties as a wife. And so a lot of times when women are coming back to men and they're saying, I should have picked you, a lot of that is, provider male type stuff. Okay, somebody popped away. If you want to ask your question or talk or your comment or whatever, you can come back. But Adeze, I think you're up next.
Yeah, I wanted to address Reginald. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to address Reginald's question, and I agree with him. I see what Davida is saying, But I do agree with Reginald. Sometimes, even though the timing might not be right, somehow I mean, I go by what Adam said as soon as he saw Eve. I don't know how to explain it. It's whether the timing is wrong, whether your interests are not the same at the exact moment. These are just superficial things that do change. But when Adam saw Eve, he knew. So for me, and this is where I agree with Reginald, sometimes when you meet someone and you kind of know you fit, what they're looking for, and they don't see it, then they're not it. That's to me, that's basic. If they don't see it, then they're not it. And someone asked the question in the chat, how do I know I'm not a placeholder? For me, I simply ask. I ask the guy in front of me, I let him tell me what this is. And then I decide based off of whatever he says, because I already know what I'm looking to hear. So if I've been talking to someone for about maybe 3-4 weeks, I think it's about time to ask, not what are we, not that kind of question. I mean, ask him what his intentions might be and what he thinks this is, because you guys have different notions, but let him tell you whatever is on his mind, okay? And I've made decisions based off of what people have told me. And they've gone on to go their own way, only for them to come back months later. And they're like, oh yeah, I missed something here. But it's done, it's over. The time has passed. You didn't see it at the time, I did. That means we're not on the same wavelength. And I firmly believe whoever it is, if you're standing before another person, a man is standing in front of a woman, and you're meeting for the first time or second time or whatever, you kind of know, especially if you already know what you're looking for. That makes things so much simpler. If you know already what you're looking for, and even if it's there in front of you and they don't know, you can't do anything about it. You really can't. You just have to let them go, okay? And if they come back, you've moved on. It's not what it was. And there's not just one person for everyone. There, you can be attracted to different people at different times. And like you said, Thomas, men are always attracted to women at different points in time. So it's for you, the lady, to know exactly what you're looking for. That is the best way to avoid being a placeholder. First of all, ask him, let him tell you, and then go off of whatever he said. Don't make him wrong for speaking his mind. Don't make him wrong for that. Just simply, act on whatever he says. That's my contribution.
Okay. Thank you, Daisy. I'm gonna, just kind of pray us out real quick before I go on to Jean, because we are beyond 1 o'clock, and I know people might want to go, and I want to make sure that you guys are spiritually protected on your way out. So, Lord God, we just thank you. We give you praise, Lord. We thank you so much for this message today, Lord God. We thank you for all the people speaking and those that will continue to stay on the line. We just ask that you would touch each and every last member of CSC, whether they are going to go to the R&B group, or whether they are going to be on the call today, or whether it's their first time or, their 100th time. We just thank you for them. And we ask, Lord God, that you would just continue to bless and move upon CSC. We know that you've been here with a very strong hand, Lord. We ask for a great and wonderful week for each and every last person. And we know, Lord God, that you are bringing their future people to them right now. So we just give you all the honor, the glory, and praise right now and forever. In Jesus' name, amen. So yeah, generally for new people, we do stay on the line, so you don't have to go. But around 1 o'clock, we do like to let people know it's been 2 hours, because we know that there are other things that people have to do and things like that. I did want to say 2 quick things just based off questions that I saw. If you have a question that I didn't respond to, or somebody hasn't responded to, you can put it in the chat and we'll try to get to it. Somebody talked about the bio on a dating site, what to put in your bio. If you're a woman, remember what the guys are looking for. Guys primarily are looking for beauty, and they're also, after that, they're looking for how sweet, caring, loving you are. So you can talk about hobbies, you can talk about The fact that, maybe you like to cook. I always tell women, if you like to cook, that's definitely something you need to put in your bio, but you got to watch it because there's a lot of lazy men. And you got to watch those lazy men because they're on the prowl to find them a woman that will take care of them. Ladies, it is not your job to take care of a man, okay? Food or otherwise. It is not your job. I have to say that over and over again because my girl Natalie, she on here, and me and her talk about this all the time because some women have a nature to cater to their man, and there's nothing wrong with that nature. That is good, but you got to let that man prove to you that he can be a man first. So even though everybody jokes on me about, because they know about how I date, but my first couple of dates, I always pay. When women come over to my apartment, once we get to that point, or if I meet them at their apartment, I do my best to cater to them in the beginning because I'm trying to show them what kind of man I am. But make no mistake, it's gonna come out of my mouth, especially if we hanging out for over a month. I'm gonna be like, can you cook? You want to cook for a brother? Because that is still attractive. Okay, like I said, it might sound crazy, but a lot of this domestic stuff that people think is 500 years ago and guys aren't like that. No, little pimpin', we still love a lot of that stuff. We love a beautiful woman. We love a woman who cooks and cleans. That's why, and I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna go to Jean. Women, it's another little bit of advice. I don't care how rich you get. Don't let a young, beautiful woman come in your house and clean up your house and cook in your house. You are asking for your man to cheat. When you hear about people in Hollywood, they be cheating with the nanny. The man is cheating with the nanny. Why is he cheating with the nanny? Because she is cooking and she is cleaning. And no matter what men will say, that stuff is sexy. That is sexy. It is about as sexy as you seeing a guy outside cutting the yard, chopping a tree down, sweat, and no muscles is moving. And some of y'all like, damn, yeah, woo, woo. When a man is doing that work, that's working it out for me. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. At the end of the day, you have to think about us right after the garden. What were men into? What were women into? How were they evaluated? That's generally what people are attracted to. And so women have to kind of get in their mind that how this man is attracted to me goes a lot back in the day. And this societal crap that's sitting on top of us is not really what's playing in the back of his mind. And most guys won't tell you this. The main reason why Kevin Samuels is where he is now and everybody's in love with him, which y'all really don't need to be watching him because he's like the devil. But what he's trying to say is basically that all of this societal crap that people have put on top of everything doesn't mean anything. And at the core, people still kind of want certain things. Okay, so come on, Gene.
All right, it's John, but
I'm sorry, John. My bad.
That's all right. That's all right. No, the point I just wanted to make is just to add on to what Daisy said, is just looking at, Adam and Eve. Adam didn't even know that he needed a wife. Adam was busy working. So I think a lot of the time we try to fill a void. And so if you're not complete, you're in a position where you're trying to fill a void, you become a nag for a boyfriend or girlfriend. And so we have to get into a position where, that we're not a nag, that we're not trying to fill a void. That's the point I wanted to make.
Oh, awesome. I agree with that 100% as well. We have to be healed. We have to be, ready to move on. Like, that's why I say that's another way for me to talk about the Thursday talks. If you feel that you need healing, we're not here to counsel you. That's not what CSC is about. You have to go to a real counselor or a therapist in order to get that. But we are willing to listen. Lori, I don't know if she's still on because I think she might be going to the R&B today. But she'll be on. I'll be on the first time because I want to make sure everything's cool and assist her and whatever it is that she needs. But like I've told you guys a million times, you know, our goal at CSC is to help you get into strong relationships, and we're willing to do anything in order to do that. That is what we care about, you know. And it might sound crazy, it might sound like bull, but you know, we just doing the best we can for whatever God has given us. Other things, I was trying to look through, see if I saw some things while people might be ready to ask a question or whatever. Yeah, we answered your question, Stephanie, while you was gone. I hope you heard a little piece of it, talking about being a placeholder. Anybody else got any questions they want to put in the chat? Because I'm trying to scroll up, but it's taking a minute. The one for you, I think the one for you one is a little bit, yeah, how do you know that the person is the one? I think that one's always hard because there's so much going on today, but I think that also was talking about what Reginald was saying. You know, but we also have to make sure that the person is lining up with our spirit, with our energy, things like that. And remember, guys, a lot of this is just, you just be the best person you can be. You know, I'm always amazed at how many people just don't want to be the best person they can be. They just kind of get caught up in just kind of half stepping through life. So okay. So okay, Natalie. Oh, Natalie is gonna say something. She about to come in and drop the knowledge.
Hey guys. So I want to make a comment on we were talking about, timing and meeting someone in your earlier life and kind of having feelings for them and how that changes and stuff. So a real life testimony is my best friend and I. So my best friend is a guy, and him and I have been best friends since high school, and I'm in my 30s now. So we had a thing for each other, and it was short-lived, and we were just like, okay, we're good as friends. So then we started to be friends, and now, throughout our 20s and even now, it was just like, yeah, Isaiah's just a friend, Isaiah's just a friend. But just recently, he's been in a relationship for, I think, 3 years. He has a child by this female, and right, like just recently I started like thinking like maybe we did miss our shot. Maybe we, should have gone back to trying to see like how we could have made things work because we're such awesome friends. And those feelings came to mind because during one of our last conversations, he was telling me, kind of the hardships that he's going through with his child's mom, and saying she's not a good listener. And he was telling me all the steps he was taking to communicate with her, and how she's just like not a communicator. And he's telling me like what he should, like, just overall like what he's doing in terms of effort and what he's trying to put into the relationship. And I'm looking at the situation like, I don't have any guys around me that put any effort into anything. So it was just like, why did I not like see him that way and see him as a guy, that I could have been more interested in, if especially if he was going to turn into this. So I think that kind of just brings up the whole timing and also talking about maturity as well. And sometimes I think the reason why we don't go to our past loves or past flings or whatever is because two things. Either we know too much about them, and too much about them to know that like what the things that don't work out well with them won't work out with us, like how we are now. And then two, it's like maturity, like people grow up and some people don't. So I noticed that my best friend grew up into this person that I'm seeking for right now in my life, that I see that it's hard to get out into the world these days. So yeah, that's just my little piece on that. So
No, that was cool. That's cool. Thank you for that, Natalie. Also for Tess, because she's going back and forth in the chat. For those of you y'all can't see the chat, and she's just talking about a little bit of equality, and I'm definitely saying that as well. That's why I'm saying, women, y'all don't need to start doing stuff for a dude until he's kind of proven that he can do a little bit for you. You know, it needs to be balanced. It doesn't need to be him sitting on the couch all day while, you know, you're slaving around him going crazy, and stuff like that. If it's like that, you need to get out of that relationship. That's not healthy. The woman should never feel like really the weight of the world is on her shoulders. In fact, it's really supposed to be the exact opposite. We're supposed to lead like Jesus led. And Jesus talks about how his burden was on him was heavy, but on you it will be light. And so really most women should be, you know, singing the praises of life, saying, hey, my life is great. I don't have that much work on me. I'm just having a good life. While guys are like, this is hard, but you know, I'm doing it, you know, I'm making sure this happens, blah, blah, blah. That's really kind of what it's supposed to be. And then we're supposed to lean onto Jesus. So he's taking some of that burden from us and putting it upon himself. So that's really how it's supposed to be. So men do need to buck up a little bit and recognize that to lead means to do the most work. But you know, that's a whole nother session. So Samantha got her hand up. Uh-oh. She gonna talk. What's up, Samantha?
What's going on? So I don't know if this is my first time talking, is it?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know.
You've been here for a minute and you like to talk in the chat, but
Yeah, I'm a troll in that regard. I just I'm a keyboard thug. But I wanted to ask the question because I think that a lot of men say that women don't evaluate themselves well and that they basically overprice themselves. That's the whole premise of Kevin Samuels and what he's trying to do. Debatable if everybody loves him. I think a lot of men like him, but I don't know if a lot of women like him. But in my opinion, I think what has happened is that with women making more money, becoming more educated, doing certain things, they evaluate their worth based upon those factors. Like, I'm educated, I got my own, I have my own place. You ain't got to do much. Sarai, mama. I got my own place. I got this, that, and the third. And they look at that as a part of their like evaluation criteria. And then when you're talking is, and what Kevin Samuel says as well, is your attractiveness, your character. He says pleasing character. You know, in the Bible, it talks about when you talk about the story with Abraham and he sends his servant to go find a wife. He says that I want a servant. I want a servant, a woman of a servant-like character. And that's what he found in the wife. And so I think that that's obviously remained the same. But how do you know in a society that women are not really being honest with ourselves in a lot of ways? So how do you know what your value is? How do you know what your market value is and what to expect, what is settling, and what are like standards? Because I think that that's where the line kind of gets blurry. We have this list of what we want, but God doesn't promise us our preferences. Sorry, y'all. No, I got a 3-year-old. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, she likes camera. But God doesn't promise us our preferences, but he does say that he's going to meet our relational needs, whatever those are, because he knows us in ways that we don't know ourselves. And so I just want to know, how do we know what those differences, like, how do we know what our value is or our market value is? Because our homegirls ain't gonna tell us the truth, right? Our homegirls gonna be like, girl, no, you about a 10, you know, you got this going on, you got that. They're gonna build you up. That's the nature of homegirls, right? They're not gonna tell you, no, you about a 6 on a good day. That's not what a friend's gonna do. And then, you know, that's what I want to know. How would you know what your value, if it's not based upon attention, as you expressed in the PowerPoint? So how do you know?
Well, see, I think you have to be, like I said, you got to be honest with yourself based upon what you believe, or, you know, because it's going to be different from culture to culture. There's never going to be a perfect scenario. Like, for instance, I actually dated a lady that was 50. And at the time I was 43. And For a 50-year-old, this woman literally was more attractive than the average 30-year-old. She kept herself in shape. She, you know, was rocking the right hairstyles, doing the makeup, the whole 9 yards. So she was in a lot more high value than the average 50-year-old woman because she just kept herself up. And in fact, she was in such a high demand that she could actually date guys that were in their 30s and 40s. But the problem with her was she had an attitude problem. She was mean. And the meanness is not something that most men of value are going to allow a woman to get away with. You just can't be mean. You can't be nasty. You can't be a jerk. You almost have to be Mother Teresa. And so because men really value that sweetness within a woman, that like you say, that servant's heart. So how does a woman evaluate herself? Well, the first thing you have to say is be honest with yourself. You say, okay, how beautiful am I really? You know, when men are looking at me, am I the right height? Am I the right weight? Do I have certain things that the culture and my, likes about me? Do I have breasts or butt or hips or a small waist? Is my style good? How is my hair? Makeup, blah, blah, blah. Then you also have to look at, like I said, do I really have an attitude problem? Am I, for lack of a better term, am I a bitch? There's a lady, and I think I've talked about her before. I haven't forgot her name. It'll probably come to me in a second. But she's always talking about hypergamy on her channel. And I think she's just so funny. She's just funny to me watching her because she'll be dating all these 6-figure guys. All she dates is doctors and lawyers, and she's decently attractive. She's not, for most men, I don't think they would make her a 10, but she's up there because she knows how to do her hair and stuff like that. And so she knows how to put herself together. But when she talks, she'll get to a point where she just rolls her eyes. She just rolls her eyes. And from a guy's perspective, you're like, girl, you got an attitude problem. You're doing the attractiveness thing, but you have an attitude problem. And most of those guys of value, that's going to be a no. Because attitude for a lot of guys is going to be, their personality is going to be about 20 to 30% of what they care about. So even though the beauty might get you really close, that attitude kind of comes and punches you. But one of the problems I think with value, especially the way Kevin Samuels does it, is, like I said, he's doing it from a very devilish perspective, almost like the hot or not, where his standards are so crazy that no woman can really get up in there. So like, for instance, like, I guess you know a little bit about him. So like the whole children thing, I'll just say this because, we can just put that out there. One child for most men is not going to be that big of a deal if the woman has everything else he's looking for. If a woman, same thing with money. If a woman's credit is bad, a lot of guys might not like that, but it's not going to be a deal breaker if she has everything else he's looking for. At the end of the day, I can't give you value. Kevin Samuels can't give you value, but you kind of know your value based upon the way men interact with you, what they're willing to do for you, and like I said, how quickly they want to be in a relationship. But I can tell you, key elements, and like I say, the personality thing is really key. But like I said, you can't lead with things that guys don't care about as much. Like I said, people have been saying, well, I got my own house, I got my own car, I got my own this. Every time you say that, it don't mean anything. You see what I'm saying? To me as a guy, it don't mean anything. You're like, I got my own. I would date a woman who lives with her mama. What I care. Like, you might not date a guy who lives with his parents, but I'll date a woman who lives with her parents. She don't have to have her own. I don't care.
Can I comment?
Go ahead.
On what you just said. So I think it's awesome across the board for women to have their own like house, car, money, all this stuff. But like Jay said, I don't think we should lean on that and kind of, or I should say lead with that when it comes to like, trying to get a man. I think what we should use that as is more like a platform where I know I don't have to be with anyone to have those things. Does that make sense? Like I know if I have those things for myself, I won't like put myself in a position where I'm going to be with anyone just because I need to be taken care of. And I think that's what we kind of probably the narrative we should kind of switch off, because it's like if we have those things for ourselves, then our standards are going to be different in terms of how we allow a man to treat us. So I think that's kind of what we should put a focus on, as opposed to using those things, the things that we have in our accolades, to try to catch a man.
I love that. I have to give that a clap.
Can I say something as well too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I totally agree with you and Natalie, because I think I have very close male friends and we speak on a regular basis. And I'm not talking about every once in a while, but I'm talking about like once or twice a week. We actually do this. We go on Zoom because they live in different states and we're all very close. And so we have these discussions. They really don't care about that stuff. I learned so much just by talking to my friends on a daily basis about what they're looking for in a woman. And it's not, your house, your money, or anything like that. And I do agree with you as far as like your personality, being very feminine, things like that is what they're truly attracted to. So I just want to make that point that I wholeheartedly agree with you, because when you're talking to men, you're actual friends with them on a regular basis, not in once in a while you're talking to them, you'll learn a lot more about what they want and the things that they need.
No, but thank you, Bree. I appreciate that. And again, that's awesome. But all right, John, we'll see you later. But a lot of things, like I said, just play up what you can. That's another big key. Play up what you can. If you don't feel like you're the most attractive woman in the world, then be the nicest woman in the world. If you feel like, you're not, like for me, the tallest guy in the world, I make sure I go work out a little bit, because I've heard women, that are my friends, they say, when I grab a man's arm, I don't want to squeeze it and my fingers go straight to his bone, or they feel like they're holding a pillow. And you see my boy Joe Black, man, he be out there running on them beaches and stuff, because he know what I'm saying is true. A woman kind of likes to be able to push in a little bit and feel some hardness, on the man. And it's not to say that we got to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever is the Rock. We don't have to look like the Rock for most women, but most women like a little bit of something. And so that's just the whole thing. It's only, like I say, so much that we can all do, but we can try to maximize, what we're doing. So Tess is saying that they don't give you the opportunity to show you're the nicest person in the world. I can see that, but I will also say, Tess, you can put yourself in a situation where you can be seen serving. It's something else that I do encourage women to do. Like you could serve at church. If you were hanging out with CSC, because I don't know exactly where you are, I always forget. I mean, remember, it's a lot of people that come and go. So, that's one of the things I tell women. It's a trick. I'm just being real. The women who serve at CSC, I ain't trying to put their business in the, in the street, but they get a decent amount of guys trying to hit them up. I'm just being real, because the guys see them, they see them moving, they come over, they say, hey, how you doing? My name is XYZ, welcome to CSC, blah, 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 how can I help you? And what that does is it opens up the door for those men to feel comfortable talking to them. Women can do that at church. You can do that at a party. When you go to a party and your friend is throwing a party, you should be a hostess. Don't be one of the people sitting there drinking and having a good time. You want to be a hostess so you can walk around, So you can talk to every person that comes in and you can get to know them. That way they see you serving. They see you doing for people. And that is very attractive to men. You really can win them over with your sweetness and your kindness. And then ladies also, like for Tess, also remember, and I've said this in the group before, a lot of guys do not have social confidence. They don't have a lot of social confidence. So you can use that to your advantage because a lot of women do have social confidence. So you can go over to a guy, and I'm just gonna let you know, ladies, if you ever want a man eating out of your hand, learn to gas his head up. Okay, gas his head up. You be like, you know, and honestly, gassing his head up can also help you get what you want. I'm just being real. I'm trying to put y'all up on game. Okay, like if you're a man, if you walking with a man, like I said earlier, you know, you feeling on his arm and his arm feeling like pillows, you could be like, you don't say your arm feel like pillows. That ain't gonna work. Cause see, then you being negative. You gotta be positive. You gotta feel in and be like, ooh, there's some muscles in there. Ooh, that's sexy. I love, you know, how you working out. And he looking at you like, girl, I don't even work out. And you like, but whatever you doing it right. Next thing you know, that dude gonna be up in the gym. He gonna be working out. He gonna be doing it. Because when you go in and you start doing that, okay, you're starting to get that man. And every person loves to feel good, especially men, because men don't really get a lot of compliments. Like I said, women, y'all compliment each other. We don't go around and be like, hey, Joe Black, man, I'm loving the biceps, man. You know, you really been doing that. You've been working on your hair, man, that haircut. Oh man, that looks cute on you. We don't go around doing that stuff. Okay, so when a woman comes over and give us a compliment, man, shoot, you might end up getting a ring right after that.
So Jay, so if we do want him to work out and his arms are like pillows and we just say, oh, your arms are so strong, da da da. What if he just keeps doing what he's doing, which is not working out? Like to keep it like how it is. That's not, you know, some guys don't play into the reverse psychology. So if he's not working out, but you want him to work out, like how do you say that?
I mean, sometimes you can just, like I said, you can lean into it. You know, you can say, ooh, I mean, I bet you just did a little bit of working out, I probably wouldn't be able to keep my hands off you. It's the same thing. It's just now you just give him a little bit more information. And if he's still not willing to do it after that, then he's just kind of like a lazy bum. And there's not much you can really do. Because there is a point where, you know, everybody kind of has their anchors down and they just refuse to do anymore. But hopefully, when you're picking your person, you can find a person who's willing to do for you. Because one of the big suggestions always is you really want somebody who is going to quote unquote serve you and out serve you. That's what you want. Ladies, you want it, you're going to get it in a different way than men are going to get it. He might outserve you by giving you gifts, by keeping the house clean. I mean, when I mean clean, I'm talking about well put together. Maybe by going out and getting a second job if he needs to pay for something. He might do stuff like I've heard of guys taking women's cars and getting them washed and vacuumed. He may do things like that. It might not be literally feeding you or I don't know, vacuuming the carpet, but he may do them in other ways. So you have to think about, you know, all the ways that he is doing those things for you, and but make sure that it's balanced. You don't want a guy that's not balanced. And I know a lot of ladies, especially the ones that come out and hang out with us in person, you know, we talk about it all the time that a lot of guys that just show up in person, they're not really doing a lot of work. They just want to come out, try to get them a woman really quick. But you always want to look for high value men. And that is one of the main reasons why men and women, you really want to be the best value you can be. Because trust me when I tell you, when women are talking about, well, I can't find men, I can't find men, I can't find men, the higher value you are, the easier it is for you to get the high value man, quote unquote. The lower value you are, the more difficult it is. You know, all you got to think about, I mean, I kind of hate to put it as a competition because I know women don't like those terms, But one of the things that you do kind of have to remember is just like with anything, every guy's out here and they're looking through the women. They're trying to find a woman. And every woman is out here and they're looking, maybe not directly looking, but they're definitely hoping for a man. So people that know me, been around me a long time, know that I have talked to on dating apps because of the pandemic and all of that kind of crap, over 90 women, probably close to 100 women on the phone. So I'm definitely doing my job in order to find somebody. But it is part of their personality, how they look, how they dress. All these things do play into the concept of if I'm going to date them. And I know that they're doing the same thing just by clicking on my picture. They're saying, is he tall enough? Does he look strong enough? I've had women tell me straight up, and I know it's a Christian group, but they'll tell me straight up, is he sexy enough? Do I want to have sex with him? Do I want my children to look like him? All these things. And so, people can't really play them down because they're real. So we just need to be honest with ourselves and just kind of go forward. Natalie, did you have something else you was gonna say?
Yeah, so I'm coming across this a lot where people talk about the whole, value thing, and I get the context behind it. I hate that we have to like quantify ourselves in terms of like how valuable we are. But lately I've been getting guys to say, like, for instance, like this happened the other night where I was meeting somebody and I pushed the time like 3 times or something because I was running late. So he's like, wow, like, I hope you're worth it. And I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, and I would like to get people's opinions on that, because I feel like for you to tell somebody that, or for you to even bring that up as a comment, I don't feel right about that. And I can't really put my finger on it, but it's like every human is worth it. So, or maybe am I looking into it or reading into it too much?
I'll let somebody else comment on that one, because I think that's more of a girl, let's help each other out. So anybody want to talk to Natalie?
I mean, I think it's hard to say exactly. It was rude, but sometimes people are rude when they're defensive. So a lot of times, like, if it was a first meeting, maybe he didn't know if you were actually going to show up. You know what I mean? Or maybe like he just didn't know how to respond to you being late. I also hate when people are late, so I can be a little rude when they do that. I try not to, but it could have been a number of things. I wouldn't exactly write him off for that. I would evaluate, like, how does he respond to other things? But this is like, you now know, like, if something doesn't go his way, to watch and see what he does. So maybe a red flag just for you to observe a little bit more, but I don't know if it's like something that I would write him off for doing.
I have a opinion too, Stephanie. I think my thought process is that he might have felt like you pushing him off was a reflection of your interest in him. And so maybe he felt like, okay, you keep pushing me back. Maybe you're not as interested in me. So he used a defense mechanism to be able to put you in a position of auditioning when he felt like he was auditioning, which is just basically, reversing it, so that it's an ego move. It's a primitive defense mechanism. And so I think that you have to kind of look at that, like, we, like what Jay was saying earlier, is like men, I think we look at it in a way that men should be or should not be sensitive to the potential of rejection, because they are the ones that put themselves out there to date, to, pursue. But I think in that position or in that situation, he felt like you pushing it back was just, he had to do an ego move. I mean, that was just protection of ego. And so do I think that that's something that, yes, like Stephanie said, I don't know if I would write him off. I would definitely, that's like, I look at flags as green flag, yellow flag, and red flag. That's a yellow flag, because it's kind of like, okay, maybe let me see how I approach this another way. To where I feel like if he reacts the same way or a similar way and it's not warranted, then I would look at it differently. But in that situation, I think I'd be put off too if somebody pushed back the time a couple times And I'm like, do they really want to see me? Are they really interested in me? Like, if I don't know what the circumstances are, am I plan B? Is her plan A coming through, or hit me up and, you know, she pushing me off because I'm not the one she's really interested in? You know, it's just, you know, that's how I would look at it. I think we make men a little bit more complex than what they actually are, as far as needs are concerned. But yeah, girl, that's what I think. I think that's what that was. Although the message was meant to put you off. I mean, the intention was to put you in that position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
see, I appreciate you guys' perspective on that, because at the end of the day, he was just like, yeah, you were certainly worth it. I mean, again, it strikes me a little like I don't like the term like you're worth it, but I totally get where you're coming from with that in terms of like maybe he second guessed himself, like in terms of interest. So I appreciate that.
yeah, I think men, I mean, they want to be respected. You know, like that's ultimately what they're doing. So in that position, he wants to feel like the leader, the one who's evaluating. And in a society, you know, girl, unfortunately, with this Kevin Samuels movement, men are feeling like, you know, I'm in the better position because there's more after me than is after you. So they treat you that way. It's not the same level of pursuing nature that I think the dating world has changed. Where, you know what I'm saying? Men feel like you gotta show, you know, certain levels of interest, you know, and I'm like, where I've got to pursue you. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what you got going on. I don't care how many things you got going. Like, there's a certain level of pursuing nature that I like in a man that isn't there as much anymore, because they feel like it's like a seller's market, right? Or a buyer's market. They're in a position of power. And so he's coming across as being in the position of power or trying to assert his dominance in this situation. That's how I look at it.
Right.
It looks like Samantha trying to take over my job. Go.
You know, I'm a therapist, Jay. That's what I do. So I mean, this is what I do for fun. But
no, I mean, that's cool. That is really cool. I mean, we might have to get you to do a presentation one of these days.
You probably don't want that. You probably don't want that. You might want to take that to the Lord and pray. You might want to fast.
Okay, I'll pray on that.
I'm gonna say some controversial stuff. I'm gonna mess some things up.
But go ahead. Controversy. You know, I do like to do it in a polite manner. But I did want to say this because, you know, you were talking about the movement. The movement that Kevin Samuels is the head of, you know, they call him the Godfather. He is over, and I think I said this before. He is over the, you know, what do they call it? The manosphere. Okay. So if, you know, everybody thinks what Kevin Samuels is saying is new, it is not. Kevin Samuels is just a part of the manosphere, and he's the one that, you know, the ball fell on when all the, you know, the S hit the fan. So what is the manosphere? The manosphere is basically, for all the people that are new, it is a group of men that basically got together and talked about all the problems that men are facing. So men, the thing about men is that the average guy, you know, again, we're not talking about guys, and specifically, we're talking about the average guy. The average guy is a problem solver, okay? Men like to solve problems. So dating is a problem, okay? It is basically just a straight problem. So what they're trying to do is figure it out. One of the first groups of people to figure it out a lot were called the incels. Now, the incels were not necessarily part of the manosphere, but the reason why I'm bringing them up here is because a lot of you may have heard about the incels. The incels basically figured out what women are attracted to. They broke it all the way down to the way a man's face is put together, the way his body is put together, the whole 9 yards. And they sat and they figured it out. once they did that, that is when men started to get plastic surgery and different things like that. If they decided to go down that route, because they were trying to emulate what they recognized that that women were attracted to. So the manosphere in general, they sit around and they talk about men and or women and the problems that they see on both sides when it comes to dating. Most of the men that are in the manosphere, remember what I talked about, it's an echo chamber. People are searching out echo chambers. So most of the women that watch Kevin Samuels, they're either number one, watching it for fun, or number two, which is the echo chamber, they're really waiting for somebody to tell them that they aren't good enough because they have insecurity problems. So they're basically looking, that's why they call in to Kevin Samuels over and over again, and they try to get him to validate their value, quote unquote. Okay? But he is never going to validate anybody because he is not the end all be all, which is the main reason why I encourage people from this group don't even watch him, because you can get caught up. You cannot sit down and watch the devil on TV and think he is not changing your opinion about something, because it doesn't work that way. If you hang out with the devil, you're going to pick up a lot of his crap. So don't hang out with him, don't watch him, or be bothered with him. Okay? But that's what he's doing. So a lot of the men that are going out there, most of you ladies would never date them. They are not the best cream of the crop guys. They don't have their money right. They don't have their life right. They have no charisma. They don't know how to dress. They got bad breath. They don't wear cologne. Whatever it is, they just don't do these things. And because they don't do them, they're looking for a man to echo their pain. So when he gets up there, he talks about women ain't crap and women ain't this and women ain't that. It is basically guys that would have never gotten a woman anyway. 9 times out of 10, it is a man that would never have gotten anybody, or a man that was divorced from a woman who took everything from him because he did not recognize that he was a placeholder or a provider man. And a lot of men think that when they marry the Instagram model chick and they get with them, they believe that this woman is really with them for the love and blah, blah, blah. And they respect them, when really the woman is like, look, I'm here because you're paying the bills and I don't want to get a job, or I just don't care and I'm just going to do whatever I want. So it breaks the man's heart when the woman takes his money and moves on with his life and blah, blah, blah. And he has to deal with the pain of understanding that he was used. And when you look at a lot of the men in the manosphere, if you really pay attention, which I do not really encourage you guys to go out there and do, but if you decide to do it, what I want you to do is I want you to really pay attention to these men, because what you're going to hear is the same thing we talked about today. Over and over again, they're going to start talking about how these women are not valuing them because they're not tall enough, because they don't make enough money, because they can't provide, blah, blah, blah. They complain about the same things that women complain about. Men complain about, like I said, protection and provision. Why do I have to protect? Why do I have to provide? Why do I have to protect? Why do I have to provide? What do women complain about? Why do I have to be beautiful? Why do I have to be nice? Why do I have to be caring and domestic? Everybody's complaining about the same thing over and over again. You go to women's groups, that's what they're talking about. You go to men's groups, that's what they're talking about. It just sounds like it's different, but it's not. It's the same pain, the exact same pain, because at the end of it, we all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. And when we're not loved and accepted, okay, then pain grows in our heart. And then we don't know where to go and what to do. And we just get frustrated. So then we go to the echo chamber to make sure that we're not going crazy and that our thoughts are validated. But I'm encouraging you, especially those that decide to stay this late on the call, not to do that. Don't go to the echo chamber. Solve your problems. Don't just go to the echo chamber, because the echo chamber is not going to help you. It's like I tell people all the time, because we mainly got women on the call, but we have guys as well. Single people will keep you single. They will give you single mindset. They will give you single ideas. They will tell you everything. They will keep you single. Married people keep you married. They will get you married. People who've been married a long time, people who've been married before, because they understand marriage and they will get you married. But people who are single will keep you single because they're gonna tell you, girl, that dude, when he wouldn't pay for the 10th time y'all went out to eat dinner, and y'all have been dating for a half a year, girl, I would drop him. Seriously, you gonna drop a dude? This dude been paying for everything. He's been pretty much taking you, been caring about you. He's good looking guy, smells good, all this other kind of stuff. But one time he couldn't pay, and now you gonna drop him? But there will be women that will say stuff like that. They will say stuff like that really quick. So you have to watch what these people are saying. You have to watch what they're doing. And is at the end of it, do they want the best for you, or do they want to make themselves feel better? And in this group, I do my best to put myself out there. So, and like I said, I know Tashawn does as well. I appreciate her. I appreciate Lori, Sean Williams, and a lot of the other people that are working with us, because we want you guys to win and make that good stuff happen. But I think I'm it, unless somebody else has another question, comment they want to say. I'm probably going to end this. So,
I have a quick comment.
Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
You mentioned, Jay, that single people will keep you single. So I'm relatively new to the group. So are there any married leaders in this group that present every once in a while? Because that would be a good perspective to learn from.
No, that's true. I've been trying to get some of my friends that are married to have a panel. So I do want to have a panel of married people, hopefully this year. That's one of the things that is on my agenda. The only thing I can say about me presenting before you, because I could have kind of put myself in the doghouse, is that I was married for 18 years. So I do know a decent amount about marriage and about what it takes to get in a marriage, but I also recognize my mistakes in the divorce. Okay, so I am acknowledging that. And I believe that God is also helping me through this process. So I just want to make sure I make that clear. But yeah, we do try to lean that way. And I do want to get some more married people on, because I like married perspective, because when I hear my married friends, and even when I know about myself, and a lot of, since you're new, I'll just tell you this, like my wife, my ex-wife, she came after me. I did not do the pursuit. So when you hear, oh, I want a guy to pursue me and blah, 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 I didn't really do that. Now, she didn't do no major pursuit. It wasn't like she was chasing me, through Tuskegee's campus. But she kind of would wink and she smiled and she would grin and she would hang around. And that won her marriage. Okay. So, those are the types of things some women don't like to do. They think, okay, well, I don't need to do that. He needs to be pursuing me. I know a lot of women who were the first person that made the first move. And I encourage women to make first moves. I don't encourage you to get his phone number, but I do encourage you to smile and make eye contact and other things that you can do to win. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. And a lot of guys are actually shy. And like I said earlier, the best way I can say is I'm socially shy, but I'm getting over it. Most people don't think that, because they're like, well, you talk and I've seen you in person and you talk and blah, 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 but you've never seen me one-on-one with a woman. And most people don't see that. And I'm getting better at that, though. That's why I say I'm working on myself, because we all have a problem. So we do need to be working on ourselves. But like I said, most of us don't have a big problem. And that's why I don't like the internet, because YouTube is telling every person they need to work on themselves. And most people are fine. It's just maybe one or two small things that you're doing that's tripping you up. And if you can just fix those one or two small things, then you can find your person and everything will be cool. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Samantha, were you gonna say something?
I commented, but I basically said those same friends be the main ones that abandon ship once they get into a relationship. So they try to keep you single for as long as they single. But when they stop being single, then you don't hear from them no more. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. You know, your friends will hurt you, that they get jealous, they're mad, they'll tell you that your man doing XYZ and he ain't doing XYZ. Tell you he's cheating, all men cheat. I'll be honest with you, every time I hear a woman say all men cheat, then it's almost like it's not a red flag, but it's definitely a yellow flag, because that means you've been hurt and you're already putting me in that box. And when I hear women say things like, because I did have one lady, again, because like I said before, I've dated a lot of women that are younger. It's really not a young thing. I just want children. So I've had women that I've dated that were younger, and one girl told me, she was like, when men date younger women, the younger woman, sooner or later she's gonna cheat. Then I'm always like, red flag, because you're already telling me your heart. You're telling me that you're gonna do that. So I'm like, no, you're done. We don't have anything else to talk about, because that's not true. Again, that's not true either. So it is what it is. There's a lot of great people at different levels. For the ladies that have thought about dating an older guy, it is nothing wrong with dating older guys. Some of you might think, oh, well, we won't have anything in common. That is not true. The number one thing that I don't have in common with the ladies that I've dated is that they don't really get happy when they hear my music. That is the thing that I've noticed is the biggest thing, because most people don't even watch the same TV shows anymore. So it's not like, we got that in common. I don't even have that in common with 45-year-old women. But music is one of those things that most people, a lot of times when you're in your high school years, you're generally listening to the same music. And so when I was in high school, a lot of girls I'm dating were like 8 years old. So that was like, they don't know. They know the music, but it doesn't get them excited. So all I got to do is change the channel and put on some Beyonce and some Destiny's Child, and they are happy. That basically makes them get into their groove. But I already know their music because I had their music when I was 28. So it doesn't really matter. But beyond that, television, watch the same shows. Movies, generally watch the same shows. It's just, there's a lot of great guys that are at different levels. Okay, yeah, thank you, Tess. That's awesome. She was just saying that, don't believe it when they say all. And again, that's really a yellow/red flag, because that just really tells you where their mind is at. So you don't want to be with somebody that talks about cheating, believes in cheating and all the other kind of crap. We all make a slip up or whatever from time to time, but for the most part, don't deal with people that cheat. Get out here and be free. So since you guys are quiet today, I've just been talking to myself, and even though I do love to talk, I don't like to talk all the time. I do like to listen and learn. I'm going to go ahead and end us right around now, but I definitely thank everybody for coming out today, and I'm hoping that this will bless you. And like I say, for those in Atlanta next week, we will be, thank you, Anika. We will be out there doing the alpha and beta. I think that that's going to be a great thing. But if those people, like I said, I've done this about 2 or 3 times. I am going to go a little bit deeper as always, but I think it goes really right in line with this value that we're dealing with now, because many times alpha women and beta men aren't valued as much. So we want to be able to talk about that a little bit and come up with some strategies to help alpha women win. But and men. So thank you. Thanks everybody. As always, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love the comments. Thank you, Ariel, Diana, DJ. So I will see you guys later on the flippy side.